right, folks, we're back on a Thursday. What's going on? How you doing today? I think I got it all worked out. All the bugs, kinks, everything else for us to get ready rolling, even like the second pot of coffee. Big shout out to my son. Big graduation this morning. So I was a little preoccupied, but boy, you take an hour or two, and then the day flies by. But all good. And we're back for another Bitcoin Shark day 5, day 7. Good to see everybody. What's going on? Man, Mr. Kennedy, I don't know how you do it, but you're like first every day. Great to see you. What's going on, Steven, J Pinda, David, Justin, Echo Leaf, Victoria. What's up, Rob? Rob Dog with a quick question. Where did you send the email, man? Because did you get set up? Everybody, all the winners, you got to send me a note on the Discord. We'll give away 1 or 2 30-day packages today just to get set up with the software, a little extra special. That's where you hit me. Go on the Discord. Everyone else, I'm going to bore everyone else's ears that's been here forever. But new people, and we got a lot of new people. Good to see. I really don't, I don't care about numbers. I want quality in here. But all the new people, listen, get your TradingView username over to hpc at sr-analyst.com. It's kind of mandatory that you get with the software, and we give you ample opportunity to try it. Also, all new subscribers, HPC owners, you guys can join us on the 20th of June for our next installment of basically what dictates a failed harmonic pattern or even failed levels. So get with that. Everyone else settling in. People are coming on in. Welcome, welcome. No, I'm not at the Bitcoin conference, but I'm there in spirit. And so are the patterns. I don't know if there's anything better in crypto than harmonic patterns. Look at what we got here, dealing with the shark, where we said, okay, we got to get through this shark. Nothing changes. I mean, Bitcoin's still in a raging bull market, but we're taking it swing to swing. And right now, we got to go through the shark. We're in a 30-day window for Bitcoin, and it's 105 to 112. All of that is still our overall zone. Okay, we talked about when possibly could we see a larger moon phase up to the big targets we talked about, and I think it's going to be a few weeks before we can assess that possibility. But look, this is it. That's our immediate range. You guys know I like to dish out solid levels to go on. We can talk stories, narrative all day long. I like price levels. I like strategy around those levels. Looking for confirmation, looking for specific setups. And with the patterns, here we go again. Another short-term inflection. I would say this is a lot like, maybe not as extreme, but it's a lot like the last one we saw at 76K. I mean, we've gone back to back, no doubt. We had depending on the feed again, here we go with the feed, but we had a crab down here. There's another shark, but where's the crab? We had a crab here on Binance. I don't know why Binance isn't, we should be kicking out a shark on that Binance feed anyway, but there you go. Shark, crab to shark. So it's been back to back. That's the only thing. I wish we had a uniform, universal data feed on, especially Bitcoin, but you've got slight variations. That's why you have some slight pattern differences. If you notice here in my right corner, folks, I have like 10 different Bitcoin feeds. Yes, it's that important. So great to see everybody. Come on in, hit the like and subscribe. These are other things people are telling me I should be repeating to you guys. Look, I'm not your typical streamer. I'm just a guy with my harmonic patterns and a kick-ass software. I'm all about the markets, and that's it. I'm all about my family and my markets. And beyond that, get in the pool, enjoy the sun, enjoy the weather, have fun. And that's it. That's what I do. That's what I'm all about. Let's get into the Bitcoin shark and the 30-day window. 30-day window started about 7 days ago. 1 week ago here with the T1 designation. Yes, it's automatically generated. That the top end, okay, of what we call the terminal bar, that is the bar where the actual pattern completes officially, hits all the numbers in the zone. And that's, essentially 11,100. Top end was 112. Problem, are we going to go to target 1 at 93? I'm not there yet, because I think the rest of it is strong. And to me, what looks like is happening here, we're probably going to get an oversold HSI pretty soon, next few days. And that's likely to, and we just, it's the natural market mechanism. Market moves up to move down, moves down to move up. And even with the patterns, we're looking at that level, and then we're making the initial 3 to 5 bar assessment, understanding that, 30 bars is really the mojo window. How much time do we give any pattern? So that 30 bars is basically takes us to like the 19th, right around the 20th of when we'll be doing our webinar on failed harmonic patterns. Failed harmonic patterns are great because, or at least the strategies around them, so that you understand the signals of what really constitutes a trade. And when do we know? Is the trade going to work out? Is it going to fail? It a lot of times depends on the individual price action as well as confirmation. We do not have confirmation here. So that's another reason why I'm just thinking reaction no matter what. There's no HSI, there's no oversold, or overbought. So nominal reaction, again, that speaks to kind of the character of what we can expect over the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks tops. And, the Bitcoin conference also seems to be, and at times it seems to be like a peak, a short-term top. I don't know why. I went to the one, was it 2021? I think so, or it was 2020. Oh my God, down here in Miami. And there was a slew of people there. There was like it's all Sam Bankman-Fried before he went to jail. He was talking there, and the Winklevi brothers and Michael Saylor. I mean, and those were all those guys were super rock stars back then, and now look at it. It's amazing how the Bitcoin culture has evolved. Regardless, culture, narrative, I'm about the patterns and the levels. And I hope you guys understand why we're doing this. We have to measure no matter what and anticipate temporary inflections, okay, and basically measure out the whole framework of what is possible. How far can the market move in any one direct segment? Like had the big shakeout down to 75, 76. We had big numbers down there. We were looking for 91 to 96. We got to 112. That is great. And again, I think some people misunderstood what I was saying about this shark. A couple people were thinking, is this the top? And it's not like that. And if anything, the initial reaction off of any pattern, a type 1 completion as we call it, is a reaction. That's how we treat it. Sure, it can go lower. You can have bigger type 1 moves, but that's all we're looking for. And actually, Bitcoin under 107. I think some people were surprised. They were really hoping for the absolute breakout. The bigger takeaway, folks, is absolutely the weekly and monthly close of what we're doing against this run against the prior resistance. 109, 110 prior highs. How are we going to finish the week? Again, take it to Sunday. You still have a few days. The best thing would be obviously a bullish green candle, but we're not ready to do that yet. Let's see what happens Sunday. Even on the weekly here, this is getting to where we're starting to roll over. I'm going to watch that closely. That could be a big event come Sunday where are we going to roll over in this HSI as well as weekly amplified? Keep that in mind. It's not official, and I have to clarify that. Really, we're not official until the week closes, and then the monthly close here. We're again trying to pierce that 110 area. For the bullish case, again, a big fat green candle with a monthly close above 110 would be your strong case scenario. If not, let's say the monthly closes right where we are today, 107, 106, something like that. Still okay. I think it sets up for where the June action, especially the first half of June, is going to really dictate if this is going to start the acceleration phase now, or are we going to just kind of maybe tread water for the better part of the summer? Really, that's what everyone's looking for. In terms of price, we know that 115 is the big number to consider. 115,000. We went through that on Tuesday. Okay. And I'm going to watch this closely by Sunday. This one bar is going to tell us a great deal. It will tell us a great deal of what to expect for the summer. I'm okay with it. The 4-hour chart, this sets up, and I said this on Tuesday, and I'm still going to come back and say, look, if you really want to ping pong off of the swing levels intraday, the 4-hour time frame's your friend. And we had this last dot that was back on Tuesday that completed basically during the session, and that sent us down. And now we're retesting another HSI arrow. That's what that is, basically harmonic oversold indicator. So I would start looking much like the last time we were down here. You're going to need probably two more 4-hour candles to be green. So we're not there yet, but probably tonight into tomorrow, you might want to start sizing up where the next dot is going to occur. Stabilize it somewhere in here, and then we'll see. The reason why I said, let me circle back really quick to the daily chart. So why I said 105, why am I not assessing a full type 1 retracement to target 1 at 93,222? I don't have confirmation. I have zero. I have no HSI. I have no dot, nothing. And we're already up in this zone many bars. We're up in the bar. We're up here. We're day. There's terminal bar. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Day 8 since T1 was generated. And the other consideration is the 886 retracement at 105.74. 747. That's a big number too. Even though the shark needs both the 886 and the 1618. The shark is comprised of this. This AB segment becomes a 1618, and then the larger retracement is at the 886. 105 is a big number. It's big because it's the all-time 886 on the weekly, the monthly, retesting the all-time highs. And if we go back to when the 886 was hit, we're talking we're already like 11, almost 12 days into that bigger 886 test. So not a heck of a lot of reaction yet. And we'll see. But for now, go into the pause, which is basically what we've been saying since last week, since that shark. Great to see you guys. Listen, I'm going to get to some stocks pretty deep in a minute here. So show me your favorite crypto. We'll do a quick 5-minute rip through of what you guys want to look at. But for what I'm considering with Bitcoin and possible breakout, because I know people were really getting hyped up, not so fast. Yes, possible moon soon, but we've got to get through this shark. This shark pattern, it's a fat retest of the all-time high, and let's see what it yields here. A few more days. I think, come on back. Even you're 1,000 points away from that 105 level. The retest there in the pause phase. But I would just be looking for the daily. The daily by tomorrow or this weekend, that could trigger. And if it triggers at a high level against the zone, let's say we get an HSI arrow, that would likely send it back up next week. That would be the failure scenario, by the way. So all good, not a biggie. Yet another daily harmonic pattern playing out quite well, and we'll see how that comes together in the next 3-4 days. Certainly we come in here on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're going to be pretty clear of how far is this going to go. Under 105, even that's not a biggie. Look, even if we went for a shark to 5-0 down there, that might be even the strongest configuration, because the 5-0 could set it off for that larger move. I really want to see what happens on the next daily HSI. Get that down there. I mean, the fact that we're so close, like a magnet, that's going to draw it down. Keep an eye on that one. Yeah. Okay, a couple of really quick. People want to look at XLM and CRV, and yeah, I'll get to the VIX in a second. What's going on? Richmond Flowers in the chat. What's up, Richmond? Let's start with you. The famous Richmond Flowers. I'm serious. Richmond's a legend, former NFL player, father, civil rights leader. I mean, Richmond Flowers, welcome to the chat. Great to see you. And Richmond actually was the fastest white man alive in '68. For your younger kids, go Google Richmond Flowers. They made a TV show about him. I'm serious. And when was that, Richmond? In the '80s? Great to see you, man. I hope all's well with you. He wants to look at H-bar. And H-bars like this, guys, go again to the 4-hour chart. Give me some patterns. Give me some patterns on the 4-hour chart to trigger anything here. H-bar, not a heck of a lot on the 4-hour, and your daily is like this. Trending lower. Probably going to get oversold. In fact, look, your last HSI is like 16.9. Not to mention, we're getting really close to, look at what H-bar's been doing on HSI for the last 2 weeks. Steadily trending down. And let this come in. I think 17's the number. I've said that previously. I do think 17's the number. And even on the weekly basis, look, you have that dot at 16.5-ish. Retest that. I mean, we got into a little bit of a excited phase here about 2 weeks ago. There was no follow through, and so for those that didn't give us a trigger just yet, wait for it. I mean, H bar is one of those that I don't, people are talking about. They're not probably not going to get you hurt too bad, but uh, I think it's just line it up, be patient, wait for it. Couple more. Sure, we can look at that GBTC. What's up, dude? Uh, Boy, you guys want Cardano. I know why you want Cardano, because y'all jumped. Y'all jumped probably at 82 cents, and now it's 73.5. Remember, it's this, guys. It's the type 2 on the shark, or excuse me, the crab. That was at 83. Okay, but we're right back down. And again, I think what happens in crypto is there's so much narrative and talk and hype. Never saw so much hype about a certain asset class than I have crypto. But what's the 4 hour say? 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot. So this says 91.84. Excuse me, 71.84. 71.50, 72 cents. I mean, this is where we're thinking 4 hour support. And so let that come in. I mean, the last time we were really considering this was this dot at 71 came for the type 2. Nothing changes for me. I'm still long. I'm still thinking 92.35 to 95 cents is the objective off of this pattern. All good. I just, you're going to have to be patient. We're not, it seems like it, but we're not really in a frenzied position yet with crypto. But I'd be looking at that 4 hour chart and sizing up. Maybe we come back and retest it. Got to see. With the dot, that helps. Now turn up, stabilize, turn up, and come up from there. Yeah. Couple more. Oh yes, Dow Jones. Oh, Mr. Flowers. Mr. Flowers was scheduled to be in the 68 Olympics, high hurdles, and what was it, 100-meter dash in the relay team. And he had an injury right before the Olympics. He would have definitely medaled. But check him out. I consider him a friend of mine, and he's a longtime Harmonic trader. Check him out, you younger guys. And his father, absolutely amazing story. The whole family, amazing story. Total respect for the Flowers family. Check that out. ApeCoin, really? Do we have to do that? I did that last time. So I'll give you like 15 seconds on it. Because I know if there's no trigger, there's no trade. ApeCoin's like this, 71 cents. That's a little improvement. We do have patterns. Okay, that's some progress. I would look at it like this. You're at 71. XA off the bat is 67, 66 area. And you'll get it. Look, we have a setup like this, and you're kind of foaming at the mouth because you want to buy it with the crypto FOMO. Just be patient. Look, size up the last level on the pattern. That's around 66 cents. Wait for that. We'll get another little check back. This is not ready to explode just yet. You go to the daily here. All right, getting above the 50. I like that. What about the weekly? Weekly's a little bit better, actually. But I still say that just keep in mind that if you can get it at 65 cents, you're looking for $1.16, and that's it. Let's not get crazy thinking 5, 10x on anything like that. It's not a trending asset. It's a recovery play, and it isn't a good one at that. But again, I think it's your maximum opportunity upside goes to essentially like 116. Target 1 like this, right to there. That's okay. Stellar Lumens, another one, just not ready to give it up and get going yet. Stellar Lumens just waffling in this beautiful butterfly, head and shoulders, a lot of things here. And we are to the right of the downtrend finally. What do we need to see? I really would like to, I wouldn't, if you're not on XLM, or if you are and you're waiting for the move to finally go, we got to get above, back up. HSI's got to get back above that 50 level. So we're still trending down. Sometimes that's an easier way to look at, is it time to get in yet? No, HSI is pointing lower. Can we turn this around and get back above the 50 level? And I would even say on the daily, doing somewhat of a disappointing thing, going back under the 50. I mean, look at this. Look at that. That's amplified, blown up on the 50 level. If you're not in it, you're going to have to wait. Let this turn back up and get above the 50 to actually do something. I'm still long. I'm not happy about it. I cannot stand going sideways. It just, for me to drag like that for, what are we, 2 months now? 2.5 months of under or zero performance, that's not my idea of optimized trading, but so be it. It's crypto. I'm looking for, again, because that is a T2, I'm still looking for target 2 at 41 cents, guys. But we have to do something here and turn up, especially since we pierced the downtrend channel. Couple more. I really want to get into the bigger markets. The alert, how do we do alert on the dot? Well, we've got some information on that on our Discord, so check that out. The question is, how do we set the alert for that, for the dot? You can add the alert, okay, but it's in the arrows, and then you have to set the function. Go in there and set the function. You want to let me put something together. But again, do you have the software? Get with the software. It's all the alerts are set through TradingView right there, and then you can use the custom indicators to set what you want. I can do that. Maybe I'll revisit that next week. A couple more. What's up, Paris? Kosh, SUI. I think SUI of your group, because I think SUI's got the shark, and I think it's got the best indication of what we've seen in recent 2 weeks or so. That great pattern on the low comes up. We run right back into a bearish pattern, bullish to bearish. That being a shark, go shark to 5-0. 290 is your number. SUI. A lot of people are talking a great deal about SUI as the next Solana type thing, but we need our price, we need our patterns, we need our confirmation. That's 290. Currently 356. Hold me to that next week. We'll come back. A couple more. Injective for my friend Justin. Justin, what's going on, man? How are you today? Injective. Some progress. Wow, that was as low as, that did get down to 6 at the low. Nice butterfly. But what's going on? See, we've got this situation now. It is a type 1 off of the big pattern, but from here on our way to target 1, what happened? We developed a pretty clear deep crab off of the low. And it's a 1 and a 2. A 2. We're at a type 2 at 14 and change. Watch this, because this might want to come all the way back. I'm watching. I think you're 14 right now, with confirmation. Yes, we look for target 2. So if you have a T2, which we do right there, your assumption is target 2 at 962. I know that sounds crazy, but that seems to be the ideal move down here. I would look at that, watch that. This might be it for now. On injective, could come all the way back down. It would, if it was going to fail, this thing would have just blasted. But when we see that with crypto, we got to respect. And then even look, even if this thing was to go higher off of the big butterfly, it's still a type 1. I mean, we're still 17 is your top end no matter what. So no long position to be taking here, and certainly not, I'd be looking for this to be it. Kind of getting a little toppy, maybe roll over a little bit off of that pattern. A couple more. Yeah, Akash and FET. Sure. Sure. We can go Akash because we haven't talked about that. I'm just going to go one or two more here because I have to get to the big markets. But Akash Network, I was really positive on that a long time ago. Let me get a better thing. I really thought this had done an amazing move 2024, and I was looking for, somewhere around, what was it, 250 or so? $3, I think we were looking for a type 2, but it became a bigger bat. I think, that was a daily. This is a weekly. And what managed to happen here on the weekly is a big 886 reset. It came public on the 2023. It moons. And what was that low on Akash? It was like 20 cents. Goes to $6. All the way back down. Now 130. Target this dot retest. That's like 105. You're currently 140. Wait for that. You come back, you retest that dot. XA level is 146. The problem with it is you had a reaction, but you generated a counter HSI signal. So that's not something you want to see on your way to target 1. Little reaction, but I think you'll probably be down here. Probably the full 30 days. Go back. I think 105. And that would confirm a big weekly setup, but you're still kind of in that micro window, dare I say 30-week window from target 1 here. Go to the right. It sends you way out to September to resolve this whole pattern. Makes sense. What's up, Flores? Thank you. Yeah, the happy 420 stream. Today is the 420th stream. 420, I know. I was young once. Long ago. FET, guys. FET, same deal. Same deal as Akash Network. Weekly, big bat. Came back for the reset. You're 86. I don't think this is ready to go either. Wasn't there something on the daily too? Yep. See, another situation. We're running into these patterns. FET had a nice move off of, if you go back, hop level was like 60, but confirmation was down here 43. It did manage to double, but right off the low, we got a 1 and now a 2. That's not a sign you want to see. If something's bullish, you don't want to be facing bearish patterns like this. And really, that should have failed. How do I know that this bearish pattern's going to hold? Well, look how much time it's up in the zone and it can't get out of the way. There's the T2, there's the dot, and then what happens? It can't go any higher. Can't get above it, and then we're, what are we, 30 yet? No, but 30 bars is June 11th. So no long position there. No long position there. Again, you're 87. You could be back at 60 on FET. I'm not chasing that. Respect. I'm respecting levels right there. One or two more. We did VE chain last time. For Justin, he wants the others index, and I agree. We got to look at that. What's going on with others? Because others up here. Ooh, we got the daily dot at the. Oh yeah. So Justin, I think you know where this is going. You just want me to say it, right? Come back for the 2. Is that really going to happen? Oh, I'm going to assess this right now because it was a beautiful bat pattern. Perfect test of target 1, 295. And then we got the dot. And then we got the check back. 290. Sorry, 295. And then confirmation, that little red line, 284. Now 261. Path of least resistance is definitely lower. And will we do the type 2? I thought we would make progress. I really thought we'd make some progress. But here we are just doing another reaction. Can't even get to target 2. So I'm going to respect that. Just I would say this, and we'll come on Tuesday. If we fail that uptrend line, yeah, then we are gonna see that come back for the type 2. And then what? And then we'll have something to deal with. So I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're suggesting. And that's not an altcoin make. That's not a situation where altcoins run. I'll follow that others. I do think that's at a critical point here. Like if you get under 255 or 250, there's nothing between 250 and 200. Thanks for bringing that up, though. Sure. Yep. Dube wanted to look at GBTC. It's essentially Bitcoin's ETF. You guys know my story on this. And there's GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. The dailies like that. Weeklies like this. And this is good to look at. It gives us a secondary instrument to follow. And so what is up here on the GBTC? We have HSI, a bearish HSI in the weekly. It checked back last week, getting rejected, and that's at 86, currently 84. So she's not ready to go. Look at the difference here. And it's good to point this stuff out because how do you know when something's going to really go? Because back in October, we blew through the all-time high. Now we retest the all-time high and we reject the next bar. There was no bearish HSI there. Bearish HSI here. So this situation at breaking through the 886 is different than here. I think it's good for at least a little pause. At least a little pause. But look, the weekly, nothing changes on the weekly. The weekly's still like that. So I think Tuesday is going to be a critical day. We're going to get early signs. We're going to get into the first week of June, and crypto is going to tip its hat. Is it going to bust a move now, early summer, or should we just go to the beach and then come back late August, September for the typical 6-week window into whatever? That's to me, it's not about if, it's really when, and I think it's if the when is going to be later, we're going to get signs literally in the next week or two that says, hey, I'm not going to do it just yet. When moon? That's the only question left. When does Bitcoin moon? And everything else just follows to see what it can do. Okay, weekly, monthly charts. We need to talk here. Tomorrow, Friday, the end of the week, end of the month, is massive. And let's look at S&P 500 from a harmonic pattern perspective. This will be, on the monthly chart, the most important monthly bar, I think, ever. I think ever. We've never had a pattern that has done such ideal type 1 behavior, so exact, and then come back quickly on the type 2. It's not official until tomorrow. So you have to get to tomorrow. I don't care where it closes. The T2 has been designated, but we do not treat that as official until tomorrow's close. And it really, like I said, does not matter where it's going to close. I mean, unless S&P is down 30, which is not going to happen. All right, we're going to be firmly up in this zone. And what do we look for when we get up here? We look for confirmation. What kind of confirmation? HSI, is that overbought or oversold? Well, it's actually closer to being oversold. That's pretty remarkable. And what about the monthly amplified reading here? That's heading back up. Didn't even clip the 50. All of these are signs of strength, folks. If I was just looking at these two indicators on their own, I'd say, well, it's almost done. You know, this, whatever happened here is just a correction to get oversold. So from just a price perspective, and usually the price testing the zone is the most important first step in a type 2. But a type 2 is different than a type 1 because type 1s, we can't assume that they're tradable without confirmation. In this case, we had confirmation. So where's the likely retest area? I still say it's a bit higher. We were up there. What was the high today? 595. And I've been saying this for a while. 603, 604 on the monthly chart. That's something to be considering, I think, for June. But the fact that we generated the T2, we'll come in here on Tuesday and we'll look at that and start assessing, literally starting on Monday or Tuesday when we come on Tuesday. But Monday, Tuesday, first day of this being in an official type 2 reversal situation. Does it have to reverse? No. Okay, can it reverse without confirmation? It can, but that's why I think we break it down on the weekly. Weekly, it's the same pattern, same levels. The weekly completed about a month ago, right at the end of April. And this is apply the same rules, folks. We apply the same rules no matter what the time frame. You see it. If type 2 needs confirmation and we don't have any confirmation, well, we're waiting for it, or waiting for some kind of reversal sign that agrees with this retest. It's not there. And if anything, we had the breakout into the zone. And where's the weekly now? Weekly's not there yet. Weekly is kind of hanging up here pretty close. I would think this, the way this is setting up, that we close tomorrow, again, doesn't matter where it happens, and then maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we push higher into the end of June to finally get that confirmation. It's not an easy read because a lot of people will be looking at that pattern and say, oh yeah, it's a big bearish pattern. It has to go down. I'm going to get fully bearish and try to short it here no matter what. The problem with that, especially on these type 2s, they go deeper, they take longer. And with that, then you're early and you get crushed. I'm thinking use the whole pattern, use the zone. Somewhere up here, the 600, 603, or look at it this way. The top number, and we're pretty much out of numbers, guys. The only number left since the type 1 completed is an 886. And that's at like 600, 599, something like that. That's pretty much the way to frame it out. I think that gives us some overspill targets. We were almost there this morning, but we'll probably knock on that door a couple of times. I'm interested to see how Friday goes. How do we finish tomorrow? Can we at least, if we were to close it right here, I would still say, hey, that's still strong. Another green candle. The weekly open, which is an important number, 586. Keep that in mind. Okay, because if we close under 586, this becomes a red candle. Then we really could start to say, okay, we are 3-4 bars into this retest, and if we got a red candle on Friday to give us the weekly close as red, then we could start looking at it. It's not there yet, but just I'm speculating. What are some of the early signs that would say this type 2 retest needs to be regarded as a major resistance zone? It hasn't been confirmed. I just want to be in front of the levels. I'm still of the opinion, and I've been that way since really early April, that we were in the return phase. Once we hit that, and then pushing up deep into the zone. 886 has been my number, and that's above 600. If we are super strong, because it's a real binary either or situation. Either we push up here and grind, we don't make a lot of progress in price above 600, and then we generate some kind of confirmation in a few weeks, or what we see are strong weekly candles that go green, 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 green. If it's going to be bullish, if you're going to fail this zone, you better see green bars all June. The next 3, 4, 5 weeks need to be green. And I'm watching this closely. I would have said that. I would have leaned to that situation, leaned to that scenario if, and tomorrow's important, but if we were, let's say we were at 595. We had a little sell-off early, a big pop on the open. Can we get above the 3-week range? 1, 2, 3. And all of that's like 595. Yeah, it's 595. So 595 in the short term, big number. Big number. Let's see what happens there. At the moment, we're looking at individual price bars here. Let me go to the 4-hour chart, because here we're back with the 4 hours. You've got massive daily, weekly, monthly patterns setting up. And then what are we doing? What do we have here? Well, another HSI 2 days ago. What was that? Tuesday. Sure. Generated another HSI continuation. That's potentially a big area of looking where maybe we're not going to come down. And I would not go against the 4-hour if we know that the daily, the weekly, even monthly have to push higher. I would say they push higher from here. Not a clear situation yet. Pattern is overwhelmingly clear. But where is the potential inflection? It's not here yet. If anything, this wants to push higher. Again, remember, 886 is like 603-ish. Be aware of that. And here's a shark. This is interesting. We had a number of these bullish patterns that were overrun with the first quarter collapse. And then basically the confirmation came in well below the extreme range of the bullish pattern, but it pivoted after you got the signal. And if we're going to use that shark, and we should, okay, look at what happens. We're looking for shark to 5-0. Shark 5-0, target 1, that's 580. And the T1 designation, that goes on with the software. Where is that supposed to go? Well, 580 is a starting point. And then what happens? We get a bullish HSI, meaning we reacted a little bit, but we let out so much air out of the tire that this is actually ready to go again. And target 2 gives us a reliable area to be looking at. So that's 605, 606-ish. And with this 4-hour HSI pointing the way it is, I would seriously be continuing to favor this higher until we hit those larger levels. A lot going on. I mean, this is a fascinating, you know what? We're going to be talking about this pattern for the rest of our lives. I'm not joking. We're going to be talking about this deep crab pattern for the rest of our lives. The fact that it did such an ideal type 1 on the weekly or monthly chart should blow your mind. I mean, absolutely. If you see something like this, I mean, if it was any methodology, but this is exactly what we were talking about for the first quarter. And when we got here, I was saying 482. Okay, it's either 482 or it's a complete meltdown, and we pivoted right off of that within, what was it, 40 cents? 40 cents, and then you ran over 100 within the next 6 weeks. Okay, equally as important, I'm looking at this type 2 here. You can go back and look, and we even have some confirmation that's like 602. Currently 589. Plenty of time on this, but this is going to be critical for the rest of the year in particular. And we can also, where's the bull market going to continue? Well, you fail the pattern here. Goodbye. Just know that. And people are freaking out about bonds. They're freaking out about inflation. I don't know. I mean, I see prices starting to drop. But bonds are getting hit, and we'll look at bonds in a minute. But I'm not too concerned about that. I'm just focused on this pattern independent of everything else because it tells me all I need to know. Is this a major turning point for the S&P 500 now that we did the type 1 reaction and we're back here for the type 2? That's absolutely critical. It starts Monday. That starts Monday. Really quick, let's do NASDAQ index, okay? The NQ, weekly, similar situation here. Weekly, not monthly. Well, monthly has a big dot, but that's not what I'm concerned about. I'm looking at this weekly here. Okay, beautiful butterfly. Beautiful butterfly. Did we clip that at 6:30? Yeah, this morning. So we hit the hop level on the NASDAQ futures. 2 weeks ago, it was the first time we hit the zone. And I think NASDAQ's going to lead the way. If this is going to fail, NASDAQ will tell us sooner than later. Here we have all-time 886. I mean, everything has been hit. All of the numbers we have talked about have now been achieved. There you go. 21.8. I guess that was this morning. Incredible. All right. The whole aspect of the fact that we're here. We did the type 1. Not as exact as the S&P 500, but damn close. And now we're at the 2. So what are we looking for? Confirmation? Always on the type 2. Do we have any? No, we don't. Here's HSI. in a really interesting spot. Did not get overbought just yet. If anything, it's hanging up there. I'm telling you, next week is going to determine whether or not we have a gangbuster summer rally and we just bypass this whole resistance zone, or something else comes together. I think you look at these two factors. One, amplified RSI is above the 50 and trending up. Look, folks, if it's going like that, all right, it's not a difficult read. We're not fighting that. You're riding that. It would have to roll over, okay, and break the 50 before I'd even consider this to be turning around. And now HSI is up there. Hey, if I was super bearish, I would have loved to have had a signal. It's not there yet. And what I'm thinking is one big fat candle next week could set that off and just blow through. It's acting like it really wants to blow through here. How will we know? Well, what's the absolute limits here? All-time high back here from December. That was 22,650. We're 1,000 lower from that. We were pretty close. 21,631. I have been talking about that number for a long time, really since we started the return phase. So this is in a spot where I know for a lot, especially people that are new harmonic pattern people that are reading this, yes, it is an ideal type 2. And yes, type 2s are potential reversal monsters. I mean, you would say, all right, type 2, target 2. Where would target 2 be? All the way at 15.8? How could that be? Well, it can only be if we have confirmation. We get individual signs of this actually starting to reverse, turn around, go down. It's not there yet. So take it off the table until it's almost obvious. You guys know I'll be in front of it. I will be in front of it. If that happens, there's a lot that has to happen for this type 2 scenario to be validated. But I'm more of the opinion that we are still in a generational uptrend, okay, that started really in 1974, but it really started on this last run from the 2022 low, and that our general assessment of the long-term regression channel is like that. Continues. Nothing. Why would that stop? Because of tariffs? Because of interest rates? No. You might slow the progress of this, and you might have other continued corrections within this channel. But folks, the economy, global population, global GDP, all of the things that are the underlying current force that drives markets has not stopped. Okay, we're not, we're nowhere near any kind of massive generational end all be all. The markets are dead. No, in fact, look, the United States needs a market to continue to grow. So does China. So does Russia. So does India. So do all countries. They need the market to continue to grow. They're going to continue to print paper. I said this last time. The budget that was just passed or is going to get passed is going to expand the debt limit by $4 trillion. It's still deficit spending. All of that is easy paper money that just continues to grow total money supply, and as long as debt and money supply are growing, markets will continue. Within this, the daily, the weekly time frames that we're assessing to optimize, hey, where do we jump out? Where do we put risk on? Where do we get risk off? Stuff like that is how we maximize positions. For this right now, I'm still long a lot of stuff. If we were to get some confirmation, a 3-bar weekly reversal, something, or some kind of rollover, all right, yeah, we would have a long way to go before that came off. It's not there yet. If anything, the path of least resistance on this is still higher. I would even think to threaten a nominal new high by June, July, end of June or end of July, not crazy. If it's super strong, we will bypass this week over week. And that's the one scenario I would be looking for and will know pretty soon. 3 to 5 weeks from T2. And that's always the assessment. Like we hit a level. What's happening within the first 3 to 5 bars? And so T2 was generated. This is week 2. We have not broken a low. We've actually pierced a couple of higher highs. 5 weeks puts us to about mid-June. And I think we could find ourselves by mid-June flirting with all-time highs with a couple of green bars. The larger possibility, and there's only one possibility, guys, and that's like, I don't want to get into it now, but if we do fail, it's not just higher, it's a lot higher. It's a lot higher. Let's just focus on this area right now. All right, you'd almost want a correction with this kind of backdrop. You would, in the same way this was such a monster opportunity. But now, let's watch that. That's the acceleration phase. If we're going to blow through here, it'll be obvious. It'll be green bars. And I think 6, 7 weeks in a row of green bars. That's what I'm looking for. And we'll get those early signs. So far, so good. I mean, it's been as strong as I've wanted to see it on the recovery, where we go from T1 to back in the zone, the 886 level, right there. Now prove me. Prove me wrong. Show me from this point forward, especially starting Monday. June is it is such a pivotal month for not only the summer, I think the rest of the year into next year. June is going to tell us a great deal about what's going on. Final note about the NASDAQ and the Qs. All right? On the daily, guys, on the daily, we had the butterfly at 525. And that has been my number all along on the Qs. Hit the target 2 on the daily. And just to remember, or just to kind of review, this was the assumption back in December, January, February. I said, hey, let this thing happen. Let this retracement to 487 happen. What happened? It went to 405. I knew about this part. I didn't know about that part. But I knew about that part. And we still came all the way back. At this point, I'd call this a looping type 2. And you're there. You hit that this morning at 525. Other interesting aspect about the Qs here, we do have confirmation. Look, you have HSI, you checked back, still need 2 red days. We're going to need 2 red candles. So that might be next week into June on the daily, but you don't have anything yet to where even on the daily you can go on it and say, all right, that's a massive type 2 and you have confirmation. Let's not dismiss it. And I don't want to dismiss anything here because these are massive patterns. You see them on the daily, the weekly, the monthly. It's big stuff. I would think, being most conservative, that you're in the final phase. Like even if it's a massive bearish setup, you have this kind of a thing. You have an X, A, B, C, D. You could even call that a bat. And 886 is hit today too. That's also F525. Get it? 525. big number. We rejected. We're 520 at the moment, but we hit that in the pre-market. I'm focused on what happens tomorrow and in particular Monday. What happens Monday? And there's plenty of time to make this assessment. No need to jump and think, all right, I got to get short, all of that. No, if anything, we're probably still pushing a little bit higher, a little bit higher. We could even go as high as 537 hop level. You have a few things, prior dot here, but it's going to generally be in this 525, 537 area, wherever we get that dot. And look at where HSI is. Nowhere near there. Not overbought, actually almost oversold, and then amplified up here above 50. Big stuff. I mean, there's just so much going on here that is ideal, super ideal. But we're in the window. Today will be official on the close that we have the type 2, and this has been the pattern that's basically dictated the action for the Qs for the last 6 months or more. Inside of that, like what are some of the big Mag 7? Like Apple. What's going on there? Big tariffs, right? Oh, get the iPhone production in US. Well, that's not going to happen for years. So what could actually happen? How could the stock really get hit with that kind of reality? Is that really going to happen? We'll check it out. It's a big deep crab correction off the top. You're 199. I think I brought this up last time. I'm still looking for a retest back to 185. And that would be a big type 2 bullish within the uptrend. So, yes, that's lower, but if we come back and we retest that, it's the biggest bullish daily pattern in, I think, 2 years for Apple. And I would not want to miss out on that as a next step in the long-term growth of Apple. Just Apple as being a monster entity, completely integrated with society. That's just how it works. It would be, since like that last bat pattern or a couple of these down here. Notice how these bullish patterns are, they generate once every 6 months or so. And they give you really ideal areas there and here, 160, 130, and now another one, 185, as it stair steps up. It's a lot like Tesla. Tesla's same deal. A lot of people were scared shitless when I was talking about Tesla, 267. And it went to 220, and I was like, yeah, it's a little overrun, but this is about as ideal of a setup as you can get, and there you go. Now, Tesla hit target 1, a dot yesterday. Be aware of that. Are we going to come back for the type 2, or what's going to happen here? Because the weekly is the better time frame. Look, the weekly is the return move from the deep crab where 444. That's the target, and I think that target is, probably by the fall at most, if not possibly in the summer. Earnings are coming up in July, end of July. That is possible for Tesla, 444. And I would stick on the weekly. Stick on the weekly with 340 as your immediate support. But it's followed along in ideal fashion, 1 and then 2. That's pretty good, though. Couple more. Quick question. Does the software work on premium accounts? Sure. Yeah, get the trial. It's like this. Just so you know, quick question. Send your TradingView username to HPC. Come on back here. Hold on. HPC at sr-analyst.com. Where'd it go? There it is. Right there. How about we give away a 30-day package? HPC 30 gets that prior new person 30 days for TradingView and HT Gold, Harmonic Trader Gold membership. HPC 30, got to put that in the chat. Let's come back. Netflix, another big Mag 7. Overextended. I got to say this. Super overextended. But it's up here on the daily. Look, multi-year channel. It just continues to rock. Netflix has been amazing. But the daily time frame, all right, we're topping out a little bit at this 1200 area. Awesome. Hey, Vertunic, you are the winner. Do me a favor. You got to DM me in the Discord your full name, email, and TradingView username, and I'll set you up. Netflix, this is for, who's that for? MK Ultra, Netflix. On the 4-hour, you're saying a deep crab? Maybe. I don't have that. I have a regular crab. No confirmation. Not yet, but yeah, I would look at that. That's at 1185. You're currently 1187. The problem with this zone is you hit the pattern and you form the bullish confirmation. In a bearish zone, that usually sends it back up for the retest to there. And again, Netflix has been super strong that I'm not really favoring any shorts, guys. Not until I get the big indices to shape up. And like if the indices rolled over in the next, call it 5 sessions, and we got some HSI signals, whatever, then I would look at some of these as a potential short opportunity, but it's not linking up. It's not linking up. I mean, Netflix has been on a tear. Just incredible. And look at that. There's your monthly uptrend. Just blowing through this, the dot, everything you got. Yeah, I mean, again, this is, that's not a bear market. That's not a bear setup. A little overextended outside the trend channel. But, really tough to argue a bearish reversal inflection. In fact, some of the things that we're going to talk about in the June 20 webinar are simply looking for what I call agreement bars, where let's say you're bearish. It usually starts with one bearish candle, because it's never like a one-off. And look at the last top over here on Netflix back in 21. Huge push up, up, and then finally you get bearish. You have an inside bearish candle, but it has to start with at least one bearish candle to get some kind of follow through like that. You're nowhere near there with Netflix. The other one, Amazon, you guys know my scenario. I'm long that, still long, looking for the weekly 230 retest. And here's an even more interesting thing about Amazon. We're going to have a bullish dot. Bullish, not bearish. Bullish, as long as that stays positive for the week tomorrow. And what that will do is you'll push it up from this level. Your 205, I'm still looking for 230. 230 is here on the daily. There you go. Yep. Crab to shark. Head on back. Even in a conservative guesstimation, target one is still 220 off the shark to try to go shark to 50, but I'm looking for this pattern to be retested. That's one of many where that's just begging to get back up to the 230, even higher, 235, 240-ish. So, not fighting that. And again, you go and look at these trends. You can't fight these trends. Amazon, it's like a lot of them. They're just going to continue. They will fluctuate. They will even have, as we saw, from 240 down to 160, 25, 30% corrections within that. But the general assumption that this channel continues does not stop. That's really what I'm saying here. A couple more. What do you guys have? Give me some individual stocks. What's SBET, Nico? That seems like a low floater. SBET, ScottBet, Sharp Link Gaming. Oh, come on, man. I can't do anything with that. There's really nothing you can do with that. It's up $26 today. Yeah, but look at this. Why was that 1700 at the top? Because this had to do reverse split after reverse split, so it wouldn't lose the minimum qualifications to stay on the NASDAQ. So you can't really do anything with something like that. Sorry. I'll show you something that has me interested for the first time in a while. GameStop. Okay. Not here. Not yet. But we've looked at GameStop over the last few months. We had a shark down at the low. It was around, 21-ish? And it did a nice move up to 32. And then they started buying Bitcoin. I think that throws an interesting speculative element into the mix. No patterns here. Really, I don't have anything yet except for what I was looking for on the 4-hour basis, which there was a type 1. Hold on. Let me get the right one. There you go. A type 1 on the bat. But I want a dot. Trigger off of HSI dots. Until we have that, you're just, you're watching, you're observing. But GameStop and some of these others I've mentioned previously have a speculative element where if the market really gets going in June and July, stuff like this, they're going to run. It's gonna fulfill what all these lunatics think about this stock. I think the fact that they're starting to buy Bitcoin, we've seen what that can do, will bring the knuckleheads in, and the knuckleheads will chase it, and that's great. That's great for speculation. A couple others, some of the bigger ones. What about Nvidia? We didn't talk about that today at 139 now. How high did that get today? 149 was the big daily level of the retest. We were 143.50, and check out everything that's going on Nvidia. This helps. This helps. All right. 3 patterns, folks, in the biggest stock in the world. Deep crab 1 and 2 sent us down from 150. Then the bullish bat, which we talked about at 105, 106, and the hop level at 93. The problem was we had no confirmation. Probably should have just jumped it, but there was better opportunities like Amazon and Tesla at these lows, but beautiful type 1, and that is a type 1. Now we go back and we have a bat pattern, put in some dot confirmation. I think where we are, like 137, 136.96 to be exact, that's the bat 886. That's pretty good. But again, today's day one, really, with the confirmation with that dot. And so we'll look for this next week. Like, I'm not too concerned about this rolling over just yet. HSI amplified, nothing's really there. I think this could go back and flirt with 150 one more time before we have any trouble. And the weekly's like this. Oh, I'll show you something everyone's drawing. So this is also something else to consider. I'm seeing a lot of people say, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, all these are giving us head and shoulders, right? And then there's the right shoulder, and then down, supposedly. All right, because everyone's thinking, oh, that's it. The right shoulder's in, and now that's the topping formation. NVIDIA is going to lose 30, 50%. No. I mean, the head and shoulders would need confirmation again, and how do we fail it? NVIDIA, if it's above 150, trades above 150, what have you, that's just massive continuation. It's too early to make these assumptions, is my point. It's just too early. Maybe in like 2 weeks, especially with the stuff we laid out with the NASDAQ and the Qs, it might be early. Okay, but give it time. NVIDIA, obviously, everyone's looking at this. They're looking at that, the obvious resistance. 150's been a challenge, but look, bring up the harmonic patterns. We have some things. I would say look for tomorrow. Maybe we retest 142, 143-ish, but give it time. Again, too early to jump on that and just say, all right, you've got some back-to-back patterns. Shouldn't that go right down? Not just yet. I'm telling you, the first week of June, we come back on Tuesday, we will have maybe enough evidence to start making these decisions. Certainly by next Thursday. We'll have a good idea how the summer is going to shape up. We don't go anywhere. We start rolling over. We start selling off, having bearish days. Like tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. It's that close. A couple others. Do I ever chart the VIX? We've charted the VIX before, but the VIX is pretty straight up. The VIX is a situation where you get above the 30, or get above 40, excuse me. Usually that's pretty much the end of the mania. And we talked about why that was so critical in April. Remember this? I have to go back and look at the exact show we did this, but we did trace out what I was saying was kind of like a bat pattern. We could go off of that one or go off of that one. But what was it? It was an 886 right up here. I mean, to the T on that 886. And that was at 60. That was 60. That was almost as high as the August move, and then all the way back down. So, yeah, you can chart it. Can you turn that into a trade opportunity? Not so much. I think it's something to look at as kind of an ancillary reading, like, in the same way you look at Bitcoin dominance. Not bad. Couple more. Sure. Yeah, I would love to see that GME pull back. Yeah. What's up, James? James, we did crypto. I didn't really look at XRP, and I haven't looked at XRP in a while because we haven't, we don't have any confirmation. We don't have any pattern on XRP. Sure, we could jump to gold. Hey, what's up, Mr. Kurana? MIT and Caltech grad? Dude, you're a smart guy. You have a proposal. Where can you reach out to me? The best place is Discord. Yeah, hit me on Discord. You can get to me. I'll respond to you. if I'm not there during or I don't get immediately back to you, I'll usually get right back pretty quickly. Um, what's up, Pinchy? Wants to look at Conal, CONL, and yeah, I think the big number on Conal is 20. But we know about this big patterns. We know about all of this stuff down here. All of the hop levels, 12 to 15 was the major low. You're coming off here a little bit, but I'm not too worried. I'm looking for 43. The best place to look for a next entry, again, 4-hour time frame. Guys, if you see something on a daily or a weekly chart and you're looking for that secondary entry, go to the 4-hour and wait for HSI or a dot or something. And look, Conal, this is the Coinbase 2x long, is oversold currently. Maybe by tomorrow that pops out and then gives you an opportunity to re-enter on Monday at 25. The measured area is 21 and change. All good though. All good. I mean, it was an amazing, that shark alone down here. Did that hit the hop exactly? No. The low was 921. Oh, it did. Oh my goodness. Hop was 931. The low is 921. And then goes to 30. 29. 30. Nice. But obviously, we ran into this counter HSI. Send it back down. Come back, nominally retest the zone. We'll get another opportunity. We will get another opportunity. Yeah. No, I can do gold. Let's look at gold. What's gold doing today? Look, gold 3350. It's right back at 3300, 3350. And gold, so I'm hearing lots of stuff. Hearing a lot of stuff. Like, I'm hearing crazy numbers people are starting to throw out. The podcast people that don't measure the markets kind of like we do. And they'll just throw out big, fat, round numbers. And some of those numbers I've heard are like 8,000, 10,000 gold. Anything's possible, guys. I grew up, all the gold bugs that I know, all the old school traders that I knew, a lot of them, most of them are gone now, always talked about gold going to 5,000. I don't know how they got that number, but they said gold's going to 5,000. And they would say that when gold was trading 300, 400. And here we are at 3350. Pretty amazing. To get those crazy numbers, we have to get through this exact level where we are. I am still of the opinion, my long-term, super long-term target is 4,100, 4,150. I'll show you how I derive that in a second. But where we are currently at 3350, we have some things where we're definitely in a pause. We got to 3,500. I said 3,350 is a big number. You have to go back on the monthly. All right. The monthly chart is like this. XAB. And then 3,350 is the 1902. And why 1902? That is the kind of the secondary number for the 1618. And so most of you know, because most of you have been with me now for a year or more, that all along, once we got above like 2,300, I was looking for a 1618 advance above. I was like 3050. And the complementary number to that, to the 1618, is the 1902. And so the 1902 is like right there at 3350. That builds a zone. It's a lot like Bitcoin. Isn't it interesting? I mean, gold's going on a 10-year advance of being in its 1618, 1902 zone. Gold is here at basically the 10-year. And that creates a zone like this from there to there. That's your big zone for gold. 1618, yeah, 3050, 3100-ish, 3350. Any monster opportunity only happens with a close and continuation above 3300, 3350, 3400. And I'd still say we're in a pause now. I think this pause could go on until the fall. It looks really strong. I mean, boy, the gold is absolutely just printing some super strong areas, strong readings, especially like that situation where HSI holding the 50 level on a monthly basis. That's remarkable. But even in the strongest of markets, I would still say we have to resolve what's going on right here. And the number is literally 3350. What's that mean? Probably poke 3350 several times, reverse back down the low end range. And I think the next buy opportunity, we don't have it yet, but would be like 3050. So gold, let it do its thing. You're not missing out. Hey, if you have to get some, buy a little touch. Buy it in chunks, sell it in lumps. I'm always saying that, but look, can you come down here a little bit, get some air out of the tires, and then get us going again? Like continue the long-term uptrend range? Because this is something, look, the whole gold story, it has a long way to go. It has a long way to go. Oh, let me circle back. So how do I get 4,100? And 4,100 is this. It's the identification assumption that once we break out of this 1618 box, if you will, that we then go and do a 2618, which is roughly 4,000, a little bit more. And as I'd say 314 would be a little further off, but that's like 4,400. But I like the idea of gold isn't an extreme move. It's got extreme character. And we would look at it like this. Let me just do 314. There you go. We consolidate in this box, come down to 3050, and then do an essential kind of bypass of the 3,000 to 4,000 range. I do not think we are going to spend much time literally in the 3,000s. Sounds crazy, I know, but we have made a lot of progress, and the character of what's going on here is screaming acceleration. And that acceleration begins above these prior highs, kind of like this, like just the arrow starts right above the box. And notice we have not closed above 3350 just yet. Monthly close. We need that. We might get it. We might literally, like, if we have a strong day tomorrow, we could get a close above 3350, maybe 3400. But once this box has been resolved, and let me blow it up, we will continue the acceleration. And that acceleration has nothing but air between here and, 4050, 4100. That's my plan for gold. And one of the ways that I'm looking to play it is the PAX G. You can go GLD, but I mean, in terms of crypto, this is a good vehicle. I like this. And there, damn Coinbase. Where's, hold on. Where's my Binance or whatever? Binance, there you go. Oh, come on. What has the... Sorry. What happened to my... Oh, it's because it's doing futures. Where's on MEXC? Where'd it go? Bybit. I'll have to come back to that. I thought I had other feeds. But there's PAXG. And I told you guys for a while this was one of my favorite cryptos, even though it's just the gold mirror. Um, that's a beautiful uptrend. I mean, that's just a beautiful uptrend. And that's not stopping anytime soon. I like that. Really quick, before I get any further, I did want to take a look at rates. I didn't even look at the rate chart, and a lot of people are talking about it. Okay, 10-year bond, 2-year note, those kind of things. What's going on here? A lot of people are freaking out that this is up there, 4.5, almost 5%, 5% on the weekly, 5% on the 20-year. I'm thinking this is a top. I really think we are topping out. Where's my, let me get the 20-year. 20 or 30 year. There you go, at 5%. But look at what we have, guys. We have a crab pattern up here. And there's a reason why we're not getting above 5%. I know people are nervous and the failed bond auctions and all of that talk. I'm of the opinion that we're scraping the top just like we were after 2022 into 2023. And we know what happened. Didn't take much in terms of the rates to come off. And then what did the market do? Once that topped out and dropped straight on up, markets went soaring. And that off of that, since that peak was October 23. We know what happened since October 23. And I'm looking for the same kind of a thing here. Weekly, come on back down. I still say the weekly yield should be more like 347, not 5%. This is overdone. That's my point. That's my point. That we have patterns there as well. Oh, check this out. Monthly. We have a monthly shark. Weekly crab, monthly shark. So I'm not just pulling this out of my arse. I have substantial patterns. They're getting rejected. Okay, 517 on the top end from 2023 is about it. And it's not going to take more than a bad month, like rates to roll over on a monthly or even weekly basis. That's what I'm looking for. This is just banging against the top limit here. I'm not concerned about rates. Hey, if we exploded through here, okay, and let's say rates got above 540 or 550, I'd say, okay, yeah, now we have a problem. On the contrary, though, I'm just thinking this is up here stalling against that. Rates are kind of a fugazi story, fake news that, it's just taking longer to play out. Personally, I think, there are, let's say, inside hands that don't want rates to come down. Certain individuals at federal institutions are keeping this elevated, but they can't keep it elevated for much longer. And if it does roll over, it's probably when Bitcoin is going to soar. So I will stay on top of this. I'm going to watch closely the rate story, because if I'm right about it and the patterns are going to play out, which is a better way to say it, if I have a proper read that even on the daily chart, 498, 492, these are big, stiff harmonic levels, that we get a couple of down days on rates, then that should be it. That should seal the deal here. I'm not worried about rates. I mean, look at all the patterns. Daily crab, back down, bearish butterfly. You're printing patterns. Just the fact that you're printing patterns over and over again is an important sign. Yeah. Yeah. What happened with today's auction, Carthago? What happened there? I don't know. I'm kind of tuning out the news, guys. It's just too much. I don't know about you, but I'd rather flip through charts and patterns and make my assessments and design strategy off of levels than who's got the best news story. It just gets tiring after a while. It's kind of like listening to, the Bitcoin use case, over and over again. Yeah, Bitcoin's amazing, but at what price? At what price? Someone was asking, do we do GLD or do you do what was the other one? IAU. Well, there's GLD. I mean, that came true, man. The gold prophecy came true. I'm amazed. 300. Look at that. Oh my God. That's amazing. This is what should happen to Bitcoin though, because look, gold was always held as a defensive instrument, but it didn't get the mass adoption until the ETF came out, and that's amazing. It's 43, 9x, 8x to 320ish. That's just an incredible chart, guys. I mean, this is a multi-year, multi-decade breakout right there. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Here on GLD, and to answer your question, I would prefer GLD over IAU any day, and that's okay. But look, where are we? On the GLD, there's your 1618, and that was like 242. And now with the overspill move to the 1902 above 264, gone. There's only one number for GLD, and that's 326. That's a first number. GLDs, if you can't tell, it's in a parabolic move that should take this 314, like C373, or as high as 400, 410. Call it 420. Why not? 420. That would be the parabolic move for gold. And I think that's happening. This is what, listen, markets have character. And the harmonic levels enable us to measure and decipher at what areas that character changes. And one of the easiest ways is when you go from a price discovery of 1618 to some kind of parabolic acceleration. It has that character. Straight up, 1 bar, 2 bar, inside pause, continue, continue, continue. And 410, 420 on the GLD. The IAU, I've heard of that, but what is that? Who's gold? Who's iShares? Yeah, same chart. It just doesn't. It's different price. That's all right. What about silver? Haven't looked at silver in a while. Silver hovering at 30. We got great patterns on silver. Really amazing monthly, by the way. Bat pattern. SLV. That's a massive low. We're up here with this deep crab at around 30. Silver's going to lag. It's not gold. It's like, if Bitcoin is gold, Ethereum is silver, and we know what Ethereum is doing. Silver, I own silver. I've got some silver bars, whatever. Just it's kind of fun. More just to have it. I mean, it's not a great investment, but silver will do big things once it gets above 34. But that's all right. I like that. Platinum, yeah, same thing with platinum. Platinum's a dud. I agree with that. The platinum, although they used to be related a lot more. Yeah, especially the silver platinum move. Where here you go. There's platinum. Yeah, it's a dud. But look, yeah, it's been flatlined at the XA level monthly for 10 years. Tell me somebody doesn't control that market. But it is a type 2. Platinum might be like the natural gas of the metal complex. But amazing, there's the type 1, target 1, and then got rejected, and then back down for the 2, but has not moved. What about crude oil? It's been a while. Crude, $60. I told you guys this a few weeks ago, that I felt that crude oil at 60 was probably resistance now with the most recent breakdown. And with this monthly pattern, this is light sweet crude. By definition, we are in a type 2 return. When it went negative back in COVID, I mean, that's still amazing, but it formed a perfect deep crab pattern off the 99 last inflection low, bang, and then all the way down, 1618. It's a perfect deep crab. You got a 314, you got everything here. It went to target 1 at 82 and has steadily rolled over. I threw this out last month. I'm going to throw it out one more time so that if we really start to break down in crude oil, 30.50 by definition is where it should go. $30, 50 cents is the XA level. I think that's where you go. I don't think there's long plays in the crude sector. And this longer term breakdown, it's taking a while, has only one possibility. That's $30. So what's that do to inflation? If that's going to play out. Personally, I think it's maybe it's a 50-50 possibility. All right, we got to clearly break down, I'd say under 52. Then you could get some acceleration. Nothing here on the weekly. But the monthly chart, that's just fascinating to me. And I do think that everyone should keep that in mind. If crude oil, like people will start talking about, they already are talking about the price of gas is dropping. And that's great. But how low and where will it go? If we can crack under $50 or under 52, there's nothing but air until 30. And that is very much a possibility. If we're just going to look at the type 1, type 2 framework, that's what I would target. I would not be looking long any resource, any of these type of stocks. And there are some oil integrated. They're doing great. We were in front of Valero last month, and I think the refiners always have a bid. The refiners always are going to have a market. Valero is like this. Remember the type 2 Gartley here? Where'd it go? It was a crab? I forget what it was. Oh, it was a type 2 bat. It was a bat. Retesting the bat from like 2 years ago, and then we had a couple of things like 102 to 109 generally. And look for, I think that's done though for now. Even with the refiners coming back down, I think, back to 109, 102. Crude oil, the only thing it needs is a good headline, like people actually reporting the fact that crude oil is lower. Inflation is abating. So I'm not looking at that as any kind of anything but a grinding lower move. They can pump. Look, again, yeah, I know, drill, baby, drill, and all of that, and they can pump all they want. Guys, there's so much oil in the world. This whole oil scarcity story is nonsense. Okay, there's plenty of oil. I always equate the oil market and the diamond market as two markets that are controlled probably by the same entity. But the whole fact that people say there is a limited supply of oil that is fugazi. That's just not the case. Again, avoid narrative. Go to measuring the levels, identifying the framework. Crude oil, personally, I think it goes to 30. Why not? It's going to take a year or two or three, some kind of big event to drive it down there. But that's the only number I would be looking at. Yeah. On a waterfall, interested in oil on a waterfall event, says Floyd. I like that. Something's going to happen. Maybe we get a break in this. I don't know. We get a break in this war or wars. Maybe we finally get some progress. But I do see that as an important change. I mean, let me just circle back here. Because crude oil is an untold story that, and oh, look, daily dot heading back down. I want to see what happens here this summer. Under 60, we start getting printing 59, 58. That's how you grind your way lower. It's not going to happen all at once, but I do really favor just following that down. And, even with crude at 60, it's kind of ridiculous that rates are at 5%. Keep an eye on that. There's some untold stories here. And then we bring the patterns in with the framework. They really help to clarify what's possible. I don't have anything. There's no reason to be looking long on any of that. Not yet. Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, the gold story is more about the printing. Okay, the oil story is simple fact that we are truly in an oil glut, and with all the fracking and the way that they can get the oil now, look, if they want it, they need it, they can go get more. It's not like they have to go look for it. Definitely. Tell you what, before we get out of here, let's give one more 30-day package away. First person to type in HPC 30, you'll get it. And everyone else, join me over here at harmonictrader.com. For those that did not win, if you still want to get the software, send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. Anybody that subscribes, purchases the software, will let you in on the webinar on the 20th. And I just wanted to point this out too. New people, please register. I've got a bunch of new people hooking up with the software. Get with the free basic membership. Just register now at harmonictrader.com. Right there, and then click the basic members page and look at all of the resources, the cheat sheets, the books are all available, the videos are all there. I send you guys a ton of videos as well, but check out the cheat sheets too. All of that's available there, free. Get started. Please take advantage of the free couple of weeks to really understand what we do here. It will click after you spend a week or two looking at charts and just reviewing what we do. All right. Dallas Dreams, you're the winner. Dallas, you got to hook up with me. Just DM me after the show right here on the Discord. Great. Everybody, great week. Hope everyone's doing well. Have yourself a great weekend. Get ready for June. Just get ready for June. There's going to be a lot of things I'm looking forward to and a lot of signals I want to see the first few days of June to really dictate what's happening for the summer. Okay? NASDAQ's just bouncing around today. No biggie. We were up. We're down. What do we have? Oh, a little 5-minute trigger right now. All right. A little 5-minute dot right there. Look for a little rebound maybe in the afternoon. Is that an RTH trigger? It's an RTH trigger. All right, I'm going to leave this with you guys here. RTH, real trading hours, dot trigger. It'll be official in about 3 or 4 minutes. What, around 365. Looking for that for a little rebound back to like 450 for today. All right. Next week, we'll deal with the big 886. We're still going to go higher, guys. But after the first few days next week, we're going to have a real clear idea of how high. Okay? Until then, have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Got any questions, hit me up on the Discord. As always, go get them.